What's good, family? This is Queen Common Sense coming back to you from the Chi-Town remix to the Kakalaka Sticks. I'm back. I had to take a branded Queen Sheba day off, Black Girl day off. I just needed a break. I needed to unplug from the plantation and focus on me and the things that I want to do on my checklist, check off some boxes to enhance and strengthen my own individual energy and repower and restructure myself. Because life be life, and we have got to take care of our mental and emotional health along with physical. So I did that today, much deserved and earned. So here I be, and I hope everybody else is doing well. This morning gave me life on Queen Sheba's Wednesday morning coffee talk. I kind of listen in the bushes a lot because of my schedule is conflicting a lot with the morning shows that I catch normally would catch if I wasn't working back on the plantation in corporate America. This past summer has been very busy, last summer, very busy for me, very stressful. So I'm trying to decompress, you know, and then I keep up with, you know, people who are on the same energy level as me when it comes to intellect, um, just their overall focus in life is frequency is very high. They're about solutions, creating spaces for innovation, um, resolve, things like that. That's what I'm about. I've always been a fixer, a healer, you know, somebody who likes to bring people together in unity or at least in unison, try to be on the same page or at least in around the same chapter. You know what I'm saying? And I know this broke last week, but it's still stuck in my craw, as my grandmother used to say. Because first I'm a woman, second I am a mother, I was a wife, you know, and I understand marriage and family and all that good stuff too. Saying all that to say this, I'm still disturbed, about what I heard uh with Queen Sheba and her information being shared for the purposes of bullying, harassment, intimidation, silencing, censoring, whatever it was, a shame, whatever reason people do what they do when they dox folks and share people's personal PII, personal identifiable information. And I had talked about this a little bit already, but I wanted to revisit it and kind of illustrate a little bit deeper and take a deeper dive on this particular subject because I ran across something that is very daunting, and I want to send out fair warning to Sinister, Stormi, and anybody connected to any type of disgusting, deplorable behavior in sharing people's personal information. The road to destruction is swift. Okay. So I came across this little Jimmy Jim. Um and it struck a chord with me because as I said before, never in a million years, working as a remote advisor, help desk professional, administrative assistant, uh I've done a lot of things on the spectrum remotely, working in the digital world, however you want to call it. And it is a passion of mine, you know. Um, and I really do love helping people. However, I would never dream in a million years, because you have to sign a contract when you're dealing with people's personal identifiable information, working with some of these programs remotely. It's a strict policy guideline that you have to follow. And confidentiality and protecting customer data and company data is one of their number one no-nos. If you violate, that's the top priority. Protect the data. And anybody in the tech world, IT world, that's like a running slogan. Protect the data, right? Keep it on lock. And I'm here to tell you, we Stormi ain't the first one, nor will she be the last one, to find out the hard way that trifling around with people's financial information, address, phone number, government name, social, you know, it is a thin, very, very, very frail tightrope to walk along that avenue. Okay, you barking up the wrong tree, and this is a fair warning specifically to Stormi, Sinister Stormi. Um, the reason why I'm so deeply disturbed is because I understand firsthand what it feels like to be gang stalked online, doxxed, harassed, threatened, because I was in the trenches way back in 2009 with the Black woman hating crew before it turned into the Manosphere. Okay, it was a YouTuber by the name of Sergeant Willie Pete. Okay, and um, a young lady by the name of Asia McGowan lost her life because of the toxic rantings and mantras of Sergeant Willie Pete. And a spinoff and spawn of Sergeant Willie Pete was Tommy Sotomayor. Okay. It was so bad on YouTube when I first opened up a channel and decided to start posting and commenting and interacting with other channel holders and other users of this app. The inception of YouTube was back in 2005, around there. So I came on the scene around 2009, and Sergeant Willie Pete, Tommy Sotomayor, and a couple of other misogynistic, you know, Kevin Samuels minded type of people were on YouTube, and they were so bad with the stalking and harassment that they were chasing women off the app to force them to shut down, Black women to shut down their channels. Okay, so I'm just giving you a backstory of how shit can get real fast online and be taken offline, and people wind up truly losing their life over this rhetoric and hatred going around online. People get caught up in their feelings because they don't like to either be corrected, they don't like to be ignored or rejected, and or they don't want to be told no. Basically, they don't like constructive criticism. No, you're not doing this. Is not right. They don't like to be exposed. Malignant narcissist personality cannot stand exposure and shame because that's like kryptonite to them. So that's why I want to kind of dig down a little bit deeper, in there, because things get really, 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 really ugly with people who don't understand boundaries, and they don't understand to whom much is given, much is required. When you start to climb up the ladder of success, you acquire more money, you acquire more access to different things because of the money that you're earning. But like I said before in my other video, you're not successful if your bills aren't paid and you still owe people. Whether you owe them an apology, whether you owe them an unpaid invoice, whether you owe them to make something right that you haven't made right, it's still outstanding. Okay. So first off, we're gonna go and jump over here to Asia McGowan. I wanted to give y'all a little peekaboo at just how real this shit truly is online, and how it can escalate into something that is irreversible. It's irreversible. So this is what we're gonna do here. We are going to take a peek at this, and when I play this video, I'm gonna come back and we're going to talk about it. So give me a second here. Yeah, Asia McGowan was a vibrant young lady. She was a college student in Michigan, and she was minding her business and drinking her water. And here comes Sergeant Willie Pete supporter. His name was Anthony. And it's ironic, isn't it? His name was Anthony. And I did this on purpose because I want to show you just how parallel these situations are, no matter how much time transpires, no matter, what walk of life you're from, no matter how much money you have or don't have, evil is evil. Okay. Touched is touched. Mentally ill is just plain and simply mentally ill. Okay, now Asia was very talented. She had a lot going for her. She was creative. She had her own YouTube channel and she was working on her career in theater, thespianism, acting, singing, doing skits, spoofs, and things like that. She's a very beautiful young lady in her 20s, I think early 20s if she wasn't 20. But her attacker name was Anthony. Okay. And he sought her out and he didn't get what he wanted. So he decided he would end her life. So I'm going to share my screen. And this is our 15 years ago this happened. So let me get the right video because this isn't the right one. Okay, here we go, folks. Sorry about that. My Zoom and YouTube for some reason don't like each other. And then too, my computer be hating on me. So I need to upgrade. That's another thing I'm doing. I'm shopping. I'm upgrading, my whole gambit over here because I'm outdated by about a year or so. So, but here we go. Here's the story. Shout out to BuzzFeed Unsolved Network. This is Asia McGowan, who was unalived by another fellow YouTuber who was a follower of Sergeant Willie Pete, and he took her life.
Hello everyone, Arya here, and thank you for joining me once again as we...
And for the record, this is just for educational commentary purposes only. And anything that I express on my channel is my own personal opinion and does not support the opinions of anybody else's channel that I might share information from or use as commentary. This is for commentary purposes only, conversational commentary purposes only to prove a point. Let's go.
We look at yet another horrific crime that took place revolving around the internet, as we explore our question of whether or not the worst monsters are no longer hiding in the dark, but right here in the technology beaming right into our faces. YouTube, I love it, you love it, and most likely you are watching this on YouTube, unless someone else has uploaded it elsewhere without my knowledge. However, as with any online community, YouTube certainly has its fair share of predators lurking in the shadows, as Asia McGowan tragically found out when she was murdered by Anthony Powell after the culmination of a long-standing YouTube feud. As I cover today's case, I want you to think about the online creators you watch, and I want you to question just how well you know the real people behind the content you watch on a regular basis. Because after all,
Y'all understand, it's people behind these handles, channels, screen names. It's all fun and games when you behind the anonymity of a keyboard and a monitor or a phone or a tablet or an iPad, right? But it's a real person expressing those thoughts in chat, comment sections, on camera, or even if they cam down and still make a video, that is a real person cultivating their real emotions and feelings and expressing them to the public. Okay. So a lot of people that say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, well, it's just online. A lot of damage can be done behind the scenes if the information and techniques fall into the wrong hands. This is why this is important from 15 years ago. So I like how he breaks it down and how he explains it. Let's go.
they are just human. And as humans, we all have our secrets, and just as much as we have things that make us smile, we have things that make us angry. Now, before I begin today's story, we need to give
Same thing that make you laugh or make you cry. Let's
a
go.
huge shout out and thanks to Sword and Scale, because I had first learned about this case through Sword and Scale months ago, and when I started covering these internet crimes with you all, I figured it would be a perfect fit. A large amount of the information I'm sharing with you today comes from their coverage, so a big shout out to them. And if you want to listen to their hour-long breakdown of this story, we left a link to their podcast episode down in the description below. Let's begin. To understand the background of this case, we have to go back to the very early days of YouTube history in the 2000s. We're talking about the time of YouTubers like Kev Jumba and Fred. Not sure if you remember those guys, but I certainly do. Back in the YouTube community of that time, there were even more niche sub-communities of vloggers that were essentially constantly engaging in toxic conversations within the comment sections of each other's videos. This was during a time when YouTube had a feature which actually enabled the vloggers to upload videos in direct response to the content other vloggers.
This was when YouTube was really fun because you could direct message people on YouTube as well, and upload video responses and stitch it like on other platforms to the original poster's video, so you knew that you had a response to your post so that you can have video conversations. This was before live was live. Okay, so Pete.
Had posted. So the time in which this case took place is actually interesting to me personally, because I was an active YouTuber around this time. I was 14, going to school in Thailand. At that time, there weren't really any other social media platforms, so YouTube felt a lot more intimate because people would contact each other there. And then, of course, within the larger YouTube community, there were sub-communities which had their own mini ecosystems within the larger YouTube universe. One of these YouTubers was a popular vlogger that went by the username VenomFangX. VenomFangX was a Christian YouTuber within a niche community of religious content creators who used his channel to launch very public attacks on targets he deemed as unchristian.
This video is one of the worst, one of the stupid.
This is where the gang stalking began for me, because I studied these subgroups, you know, where they call them now sectors: the beef sector, the black sector, you know, the beauty and lifestyle sector. Different sectors now were just like little cliques back when YouTube first started.
Stupidest videos I have ever seen.
By creating inflammatory videos like that one in response to other creators, you can see how VenomFangX built up a controversial reputation, albeit while gaining a lot of attention and popularity from those that shared his beliefs. We see the VenomFangX effect nowadays with a lot of political commentators on YouTube whose outspoken beliefs have created huge platforms for them, despite the criticism they attract. After attending seminary school, VenomFangX appeared to believe his formal education gave him the ability to disprove dissenting opinions from conservative Christian ideology, such as those held by scientists on topics like creation and evolution.
Now, this particular group of people were Sergeant Willie Pete followers. Venom X, names like Dark One Sun, uh, Avenue Rants, a few. And I've had personal entanglements with those people. Never did have a clash with Venom X or Sergeant Willie Pete because Sergeant Willie Pete would run from me whenever we were on blog talk radio type of platforms, podcasts like that. I was like, I wish one of these ninjas would step to me and try to chase me offline because I have an opinion on something that has nothing to do with them. They were literal black woman haters. Okay. They hated anything that was a black woman. They were the innovators of rubbing in our faces how subdued and subversive and submissive European people of no color women are compared to black women who were deemed manly, masculine, too loud, ghetto, ratchet, wearing horsehair, hair hats, weave and the such, fake nails, makeup, all that started 15 years ago on YouTube. So let's peep.
Fang X would also post disturbing content like this one, where he went on a rant while pretending to be Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker. On a side note, it's kind of wild to think about how long ago it's been since Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, and the many Halloween costumes that certainly sparked. Venom Fang X was reportedly a huge influence and inspiration for 28-year-old Anthony Powell, perhaps better known to some by the YouTube username and main account Tony48219. Posting similar Christian-themed content, Tony also enjoyed a relative amount of success in viewership and following between 2007 to 2009, largely amongst a conservative Christian YouTube audience. Tony vlogged dozens of videos speaking directly to the camera and became known for profane rants about highly controversial topics, largely based on his ultra-conservative perspective. Tony also encouraged his viewers to attack and troll other creators who had differing beliefs, such as vloggers whose content centered around atheism, creators from other religions, and generally troopers of Satan, who he considered demons and subhuman monkeys. Tony's extremely controversial opinions also included rampant misogyny, publicly voicing sentiments that women should be obedient, submissive, and subservient.
Here we go, folks. Here comes the darkness. It's important to study the dark side of these type of things because it's a stealthy, silent, very, very dangerous world. And if you act like you're clueless and you don't educate yourself and heed to the people who have the knowledge about how this world works, the digital world, all of these apps work, don't be lazy and say, "Oh, I don't know how to do all of that." If you know how to click an app and hit a button and go live, then you can explore and learn how these platforms work and whether they're safe to use or not. And if you feel comfortable submitting your information to these platforms, okay? Because we don't know who's operating these channels, right? We don't know that person on the other side of that computer screen, who are making comments, who are building troll sock accounts to troll, you know. So peep, y'all, check it out.
To their husbands. A black man himself, born to black parents, Tony had even once posted a video entitled, "Black Women Don't Deserve Respect." In it, he accused black women of sexual promiscuity and claimed that they were killing thousands of babies a day by having abortions. In incel-like behavior, he also displayed a sense of resentment that black women did not seem to be attracted to him and would seemingly prefer a deadbeat partner. He would later post a video in response to comments about the original controversial video, which only seemed to further illustrate a strong sense of internalized racism and a resulting self-hatred of the black community.
Now, you fucking black women are getting on my motherfucking nerves. You see why there's so many videos on YouTube about you bitches. You're attracted to these no good motherfuckers that ain't gonna do shit for your ass because you want some kind of a fucking challenge. Get a fucking life and stop crying and whining on my fucking message boards. I'm tired of that fucking shit.
As Tony mirrored controversial opinions in his vlogs and posted them on the internet, the comments and interactions his videos received, both in agreement and disagreement, likely made him feel accepted, important, and respected in this niche community he found on YouTube in ways he may not have experienced in real life. Now, as someone who makes YouTube videos for both BuzzFeed and my own personal channel, and having done so since, as I told you, I was 14, I kind of understand this to an extent as far as how the relationship you build with your audience can directly impact both the content you make as well as just the way you see the world and how you approach it. Especially with an audience the size of BuzzFeed's, when I get positive comments, it makes me feel great. And when I don't, I usually try to take it as constructive criticism, but obviously it also makes you rethink the work you do and kind of the way you want to shape your work moving forward. So for someone like Tony, when he's seeing comments, both in agreement or disagreement, it definitely would spark some sort of shift in his mentality. And that shift was basically to continue doing what he was doing. In many ways, it makes me think of the old timeless saying, don't feed the trolls. And that's basically what happened with Tony, right? People were engaging with his content, good or bad, and that just made him want to keep making more content. Because of course, in the case of a troll doesn't really care what response they ultimately get. They just want to get a reaction out of you. And in the case of a YouTuber like Tony, who posts controversial opinions, getting a reaction is what he wants, and he was getting it. And I think in Tony's case, we're seeing a very extreme example of how someone can take that unique interaction you have with an audience on a platform like YouTube and allowing it to kind of manifest in real world actions. In addition to videos, Tony was active on forums and in the comments of other YouTubers he considered to be rivals, one of which was Asia McGowan, a 20-year-old student at Henry Ford Community College in Dearborn, Michigan. Asia aspired to one day become a professional dancer and actress, and generally posted lighthearted content such as skits, comedy improv, as well as showcasing singing and dancing routines. She was also taking theater classes and was part of a local dance company. She had also participated in some work as an extra in films, and she would often vlog her experiences on set. However, Asia was also a very vocal advocate for women's rights, and at times, she posted content expressing her non-religious or atheist beliefs. Because of these videos, Tony began harassing her with inflammatory comments on all of her uploads, including ones that had nothing to do with religion.
Now keep in mind, you're going to hear soon that Tony was mentally ill. And that's not a joke, that's not a dig, and that's no shade. Tony had serious mental and emotional problems. Let's peep, y'all.
On top of that, he made a variety of accounts that he used specifically to troll in what might appear to be greater numbers, though they were all still just comments being made by him. Some have posited that in addition to her non-religious beliefs, Tony may also have targeted Asia with an increased sense of vitriol because she was also a beautiful black woman, known for her petite frame, sweet face, and bubbly personality. Ultimately, because of the relentless harassment she was facing from Tony and all of his fake accounts he was using to attack her, she finally uploaded a video on April 6, 2009, addressing the issue in response.
For the people that just felt like they had to come on my page and hate and think that they were going to get like some comments back from me, well, you thought wrong.
Unfortunately, despite Asia's intent in this video, telling her haters that they thought wrong and thinking they'd get a comment back from her, you could definitely see how, in actuality, by releasing this video and challenging their presence, Asia did a lot more than just giving them a comment back. She was stoking the flames of hostility from her haters, or rather, her hater. This video was posted just days before Asia McGowan was coldly murdered by Anthony Powell.
Now keep in mind, this is also not just for Stormi. This is for anybody who will minimize when someone reports they're being harassed, stalked, or in any way disturbed by a complete stranger on or offline. Okay, because this also is a form of abuse. It's abuse. And this is when the inception of being comfortable disrespecting Black women exploded all over social media. It wasn't just YouTube that this was happening. Black women could not post anywhere, whether it was Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, it didn't matter. The biggest apps that were trending back then were Facebook, YouTube, and people would go from YouTube and find Black women on Facebook to further harass, stalk, and terrorize you, all for your personal views, whether you were involved in their discussions or you were minding your own business. As a Black woman, nowhere was safe for you on YouTube, okay? Especially YouTube. Let's peep.
You see, it was not necessarily random that Tony came to find Asia on the internet, because in fact, they knew each other in real life. The community college that Asia attended, Tony himself was a student there. The theater department that Asia took classes in fact, on the day of Asia's murder, they had actually attended that same theater class together.
Now you see how quickly this took a turn for the worse. At the same school, in the same class, sitting right next to you, okay? We don't know who is who when we're offline. All right. And I'm not saying this to try to scare anyone or trigger anyone. And also this is a trigger warning. So if it's too much, please, please click off. And if you do have little ones, it's best not to have them around or put your earbuds, earphones on to listen because this is very, very serious. And many of us share this very similar stories. I don't, I hope nobody else ever has to go through what Asia, myself, and many other women have had to go through. Rest in power, Asia. Um, Shout out to her family and shout out to Tony's family too, because he unalived himself as well. But you never know. You never know how close the enemy really is to you. Okay?
Days before the attack, Tony had posted a video on his channel in which he stated he was experiencing suicidal ideation.
There's absolutely nothing for me to do in this life. I don't have no purpose. There's no point. There's no point to me living anymore. I really am thinking about killing myself. And I'm pretty much going to do it, and I'm so scared.
On Friday, April 10th, 2009, a then 12-year-old boy, Christian Plonka, happened to be in the Grant Mackenzie Fine Arts Center at Henry Ford Community College that day for an interview with the college's radio station to advertise the upcoming theater production he was in. In an interview played on the Sword and Scale episode, Christian details what happened that day. Christian states that at about 11 a.m., things felt off. Christian found the group of students he was supposed to meet. 10 minutes later, they heard screams for help at the entryway to the theater. According to Christian, the other students seemed unfazed by the cries as they were used to students playing pranks. As someone who did do theater in community college, I can attest that yes, shouting, screaming, singing, all kinds of noises in the theater building would not cause any alarm, unfortunately. But Christian wasn't so sure about what he was hearing. After another 10 minutes, Christian says they heard the first gunshot. He states that he went into autopilot and began to investigate. Can we just take a moment here and actually give like a shout out to Christian, a 12-year-old boy who hears gunshots and he goes to investigate? I mean, I wouldn't advise anyone to investigate the sound of gunshots, especially not a 12-year-old. But the fact that he did it, he's a very brave young man, or a brave man now. As a warning, the following description of what Christian saw may be upsetting to some. When he made his way out into the hallway, Christian states that the gunshots were coming from behind glass doors, which he could see through. It was then that he saw Asia running from the classroom and screaming. What Christian witnessed was Asia being shot in the back, going limp, and attempting to scream for help one last time. He saw her dragged back into the classroom and heard one more shot. The shot believed to be the one that killed Asia. Police were called to the college around 12:30 p.m. after an emergency call came in reporting an assault. While en route, officers received reports of gunshots on campus. Upon entry of the theater building, the officers heard a gunshot. They then discovered the bodies of Asia McGowan and Anthony Powell in room F111, a classroom on the first floor of the building. Tony had used a shotgun to shoot Asia and then himself. Police believe no one else was in the classroom at the time of the shooting, and some people have speculated that they might have even been paired to work together on a project and met in the empty classroom to prepare for the assignment. Just thinking about that is so horrifying. You know, that in Asia McGowan's shoes, here she is thinking she just paired up with another classmate as a scene partner, but the truth is her partner holds such hatred for her, has been commenting and throwing all kinds of abuse across multiple accounts on her videos, and was also plotting her murder. I mean, it goes without saying as far as true crime cases are concerned, but you really, truly, you never know who people really are. Following this tragedy, Tony's parents stated they worked for years to help their son, but nothing worked. Ultimately, they expressed a sincere apology to Asia's family and offered their condolences as well, with Tony's father, Samuel Powell, saying, "We were totally surprised by this. He's dead. He's gone. There's nothing we can do. We didn't know anything about him doing anything like that, and I offer my condolences to that family of that dead child." Soon after, Venom Fang X himself uploaded.
And I just want to also point out too, do you see how many lives are affected by one person who is spreading so much negativity and darkness and hatred? You know, it's downright hatred and evil. It's a demonic possession. You know, Leviathan, jealousy, envy, spite, resentment is very, very real. And society and our home environment, our upbringing, you know, the people who form our communities growing up is what shapes the conditioning to suppress and hide and turn our head to these things, you know, these personality or character traits, behaviors, and possessions of jealousy. Oh, you know, she's just jealous. Just don't pay attention to her. Before you know it, it escalates and it turns into something way more sinister and way more dangerous than what we can even fathom because we ignore it. You know, oh, they're being bullying me. Oh, well, just walk away. Just leave it alone. Don't feed it. Right? If you see something, say something. Report it to authorities, whatever authority that might be, the principal, teachers, police, uh, the crossing guard, okay? The the pastor, you know, somebody who is a mandated reporter. Those are all people, a therapist, a school counselor, a librarian, you know, the fire fighters. All of those professions are mandated reporters, doctors, nurses, psychotherapists, psychologists. There's so many ways now, thank goodness, due to technology. That's why I say it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because you can give someone a tool and it's just up to their mentality on how they use that tool for good or for evil. And we have got to stop sitting on pause and hesitating when we see something that is completely out of order, especially when it comes to stalking, abuse, harassment, and things under that umbrella of abuse. And to minimize when someone is being harassed, like Melody, okay, to say and diminish it to, oh, it's just a text message. Oh, she was being spiteful. She's bitter. No, someone who leaves a marriage and is trying to place distance between their former spouse is not bitter. They're trying to escape and protect their life and their peace and their mental stability and their children and their property and their brand, their hard work, blood, sweat, and tears they put into their income, into their livelihood. Okay. This touches so many people in such a horrible way when one person decides to either hand over PII or get behind an anonymous account and start to harass and comment and spread lies, rumors, and gossip. It can snowball into something horrid. Let's go, y'all.
Uploaded a video addressing what happened.
This is a tragedy and nothing but a tragedy. This is horrific. I didn't know Tony. I'd only found out who Tony was a day ago when I had heard this controversy and that my name had been brought up. And if the families of either parties is watching this in whatever event, I want to express both my sympathy for what has happened as well as a few words of comfort. God loves you, and God loved Tony, and God loved the young lady who was killed.
As a side note, it just rubs me the wrong way that he addresses Tony by name, but not Asia. But
had I the ability to speak to Tony today, or if I was able to speak to him before he had done this, I most certainly would have told him that suicide and murder is not the answer. This is a tragedy, and anyone who thinks otherwise is sick, is absolutely sick, and anyone who blames anyone other than Tony for Tony's action is wrong.
In my opinion, this response by Venomfang X, posted after being blamed by many for being involved in this tragedy, presents an interesting question. How responsible was Venomfang X in these horrible events? Or was he not responsible at all? Would it have made any difference had Venomfang X been able to, as he says, speak to Tony and tell him that murder and suicide was not the answer? Or would Tony have still committed these crimes regardless? Does YouTube hold any blame for building a system that allowed a community like this to grow? Let me know what you think. I personally reached out to Venomfang X to see if he had any additional comment to give years after this tragedy transpired. I received no response. When I was thinking of cases to cover for these internet crimes videos, the Sword and Scale episode about this case certainly came to mind. I think I find it intriguing in its own way, not just because of how little known this case is, but obviously its connection to the greater YouTube ecosystem, the YouTube community, the YouTube world. I mean, YouTube feuds, they're nothing new. We've seen plenty of YouTube feuds come and go, but having a YouTube feud build and grow and culminate in a murder-suicide is certainly something I think worth sharing as a cautionary tale. So to go back to that question we're always asking, are the worst monsters no longer hiding in the dark, but right here in the technology in front of our faces? In the case of Anthony Powell, that is absolutely true. Anthony Powell had certainly his fair share of issues, but would they have led to a murder-suicide if he had not had access to YouTube, if he had not had access to his YouTube channel? Perhaps. We'll never know. But his channel on YouTube, the community he found, and his interactions with people like Asia McGowan certainly were determining factors in the tragedy that transpired. Thank you for watching, and as always, if you have an internet crime that you think is worth sharing with everyone that you'd like me to cover, please don't hesitate to...
There we go, folks. Now, what I want to do next is show a Stormi Steele, Sinister Stormi Steele, before we even knew she was breathing. And this is going to illustrate how fast things can go left when you get too greedy, okay? When you get too cocky and arrogant with your schemes, scams, plots, and plans. Now, am I saying that Stormi is premeditated in what she did? I don't know. I wasn't there when she built her brand. I wasn't part of the process. So I can't say what her intentions were or what they are, but I know what I see when I see it. Okay. And I'm one to call a spade, which is why a lot of people do not like me and don't really want to fuck with me, because I'm not going to kiss your ass, and I can take it just like I can give it. And usually a lot of people don't have to come G-check me because I'm self-corrected. I'm very self-aware, and I stay in my own lane, and I know how to mind my own damn business. But this affects everybody when stuff like this happens, because we all share this platform. And when I see what I have seen over the past week or so, especially when Queen Sheba came forward, and I love how she put it out there. She's like me. She'll sit on something for a hot second, let it simmer, process it, and then express herself, and then it's less emotional and more logical and practical when she shares what she has to share, and then her point hits the bullseye every time that way. So that's why I always have been one to try to practice the pause as well, where people think that, oh yeah, I got one over, I got a good one in, I got that cheap shot in on Queen. No, baby, no, you didn't. Because first, I'm letting God channel through me. I'm letting God translate to me what I need to do and how I need to handle things. And then it might be long after the incident, and you may have forgotten about it, or you may think I have forgotten about it. But strategically, I'm going to circle the block and bend that corner, and I'm a deliver my retribution one way or another if it's necessary. Now I let a lot of stuff burn. I let a lot of stuff rock out. I let people cook. Come for me, I'm just feed you silence. But when it starts to get dangerous, then that's when I'm going to respond, because I'm a responder. I don't ever initiate anything with anybody, but if you feel froggy, okay, that's how it goes. So now we're gonna move around to the next little sound bite that I want to share. I just have to find the correct time stamp, because I was studying this um, more than one time, and I jumped ahead of where I really wanted to start it. So let's see. Let me go back. Give me a moment, folks. I'm going to mute for a hot second. Okay. All right. Shout out to Breakbeat Media. We're going to look at this little sound bite here, and I'm going to introduce you to someone very similar to Sinister Stormy Steele. And we're going to have a look see at where the road to scamming and scheming and sinister plotting will take you, where the road leads to nowhere but devastation, disappointment, and DOC. Okay. You get locked up if you FA UFO. Okay. So we're going to have a look here. Boom. All right. Breakbeat Media. This is a woman who stole millions with a scheme that she came up with, her and a group of friends, organized crime. And you tell me if this is very similar to what Queen Sheba described happened to her. Very similar to how Stormy is moving out here with her brand. I'm not saying Stormy is a scammer. I'm saying the behaviors are very similar. Let me make that clear. I am not calling Stormy Steele a scammer. I am merely pointing out the parallels in these two women that are very familiar, and we need to pay close attention to people who move real funny out here, dealing with people's personal information. Let's go.
Story is important.
My name is Denisa, and I go by Bella. My story is important because maybe I can save another life.
Bella Barcode is what she called herself back in the 90s. Peep this, y'all. This is gonna blow your locks back. It's gonna blow your afro out.
Okay. So take me to exactly what it is that you were doing.
It's called the approval game. So what I would do is hire a crew. They'll go inside the candy store or go inside of a jewelry store and make a purchase. When they card decline, they'll contact me on that.
The candy store, aka the bank. Okay. Bank, high-end jewelry stores, couture, boutiques, etc. Peep this, y'all.
Other line.
Okay. And what do you say? Why are they contacting you?
So they card decline. So they go in there and they make a purchase for about $65,000 and they card decline. And typically when your card decline, the sales rep tell you to contact your bank. But instead of contacting your bank, you're contacting me. The same thing your bank could say, thank you for calling Visa Merchant Services. Sarah, can I get your account number, please? Expiration date, name as it appears exactly in the card, and amount of purchase. Well, I'm in here doing a purchase for $65,000 and for some reason my credit card is declining. Sure. Am I speaking with the merchant? I get on the phone with the sales rep, get on the phone with the merchant, which is me. I ask them for their Visa merchant number. The sales rep give me their Visa merchant number. After she give me the Visa merchant number, I ask her, can she ask the customer for the last four of her social? Same thing your bank will say when you call on your credit card decline.
Oh shit.
The last four of your social, a PIN, your mother's maiden name.
What she's naming off is PII. Okay. Personal identifiable information that merchants compare with your financial institution, or i.e. your card issuer, whether it's a debit card or a credit card. It is attached to PII. And if you do not have said PII, no sale. Okay, now this was before the internet was popping. Okay, this was back in the 90s. All right. So this was you'll see, but this is PII. Okay, let's go.
She verify all that with me. I make sure that everything is accurate on the customer's account. Get back on the phone with the sales rep. I have an authorization code for you. Do you have a pen and paper handy? Give her the 006942 authorization code. And I asked her, does she need assistance with the transaction? If she needs assistance with the transaction through her terminal, I assist her with that.
You know what? This works. Okay, so where's the money coming from?
If you need to record,
We're gonna let this commercial rock out, but do y'all see how easy it is if you know the ins and outs of how PII works? How far you can go with it? Let's peep this. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit after the commercial. Come on.
That's why they FDIC insured.
So it's to my understanding that when their terminal cuts off, there's sort of like this glitch in the matrix, so to speak.
Manual transaction is what initially is called, or for sale. Initially, companies and banks are not supposed to do offline for sale. However, when the other party is on the phone and they think it's a Visa merchant service, they continue on with the transaction.
What year?
The Visa, MasterCard, Discover, Amex merchant service is the encrypted server that the digital financial transaction is ran through to check to make sure funds are available. If funds are not available, what certain financial institutions like those that I named and many others can do is force the transaction, because there's a protection, a digital stop sign, if you will, on that account that's attached to it to stop the transaction when funds are not available. Decline. Okay, let's go.
Year were you doing this?
I would say back in 97,
97. This is the 90s.
the 90s.
You can't do this stuff today.
Why you can't?
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay.
No, let's make it clear. I'm not doing it today.
Okay.
Yes, let's make that very clear.
Abundantly clear. You're not doing this today.
No.
All right. So, how do you find out about this? Like, how does a person even know that you can do this?
That's a good question. I was introduced to the game by a young lady who told me that she was getting the authorization codes from her friend that works at a check cashing place.
Okay. Authorization codes, you know, from where I'm from, is currency exchanges, check cashing places, payday loan places. Okay. Credit union, FDIC insured banking institutions all have those type of codes. All right. Let's go.
To find out she was making them up herself.
Just saying numbers.
Just 6 digits. The same digits that's be on your receipt at the end of your receipt that says authorization code.
Right. What made her choose you?
What made her choose me? It's a good question. I'm driven though, so like I'm just, I don't know, I'm just one of them type of young ladies that stuck out back in the day when I was young.
How old were you?
I would say 17.
17 years old. She tells you about this loop or this scheme. Does your life change immediately? Talk to me about that first time y'all go out and you actually see that what she put you onto works.
It's like a rush. Like it's like you're on drilling and it's just going. Once you hit one bank, you want to go hit another one, and another one, and another one, and keep going. Going in there asking for $85, $95, $100 cash advance.
Right, but we were talking about making purchases in stores. How can you go into a...
You see the destruction and devastation that can be caused when your PII is exposed to the wrong people? You see how important it is to understand what you are clicking, what you are typing your information, what portal you are putting your information into. Okay. Because just like YouTube, when you log in and hit log in and put in your screen, your username and password, that's a portal. You're putting information, your PII, into an encrypted portal so that you can log in, launch the app, and be able to navigate the app. Okay. Let's go.
A bank.
Same thing.
As you say, candy store.
Same thing. You go in there and ask for, you would like to get a cash advance off your Visa. You ask them, is there a limit? No, it's not a limit. Usually you will go in there, typically I'll go in there and ask for $85 or $6,500. So just imagine me going to 5 banks asking for $60 to $8,500.
I mean, 7, 14, 21, 28. like 30,000, how much money it is. So, but, okay. I mean, I guess like, I'm just flabbergasted because this too is the 90s, right? So like, 8K in the 90s. I mean, today we're talking about, I don't know, roughly about $17,000, $18,000. That goes a long way back then. What is a 17-year-old doing with
living life?
$40,000?
Living life. Just being reckless. Greed. Just being reckless.
So do you continue to work with this lady?
Eventually I continue on and eventually I go my own way and get my own little crew and have them.
Talk to me about your crew. How did you comprise them? How did you do your selection? What was sort of that process like?
They had to be well-groomed, intelligent, and a good listener.
Okay, sort of like the malleable woman, but still fitting sort of this idea of, I don't know, like a gentle, pretty sort of aesthetic. Okay, so when you're going into these banks and stores and they're calling you, what numbers are they using? How are you getting the number for them to call? Because wouldn't that...
They call an 800 number.
Okay, so how are you getting an 800 number?
Why are you...
This is getting deep, y'all. Pay attention now. This is teaching you how PII is handled, okay? And how closely people can watch your habits and how you use your PII, where you use your PII, and how reckless you are with it. Okay, that's how people get got.
Is that too much? Is that too much sauce?
How am I getting an 800 number?
Right.
A company through Grasshopper. It's a business line. So basically, you set up the number through Grasshopper as a business line and you transfer it to your cell phone. So when they're calling 800 numbers, ring it to my cell phone.
And I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
I have a lot of questions. Okay, and how are you getting these IDs and cards and stuff like that?
We had an ID guy who made the IDs, whatever state we needed. And as far as the cards, it can be an old card that we had that don't work no more. You have to understand that they think they're calling our bank, but they're really calling us.
Right. What is sort of your breakout day doing this where you're just like, you know what, I'm making crazy money, like, and you're like, yo, it's up. I'm gonna be rich forever. I don't know, sort of that proverbial thing that goes off in your head.
What do you mean by that?
Sort of like,
Elaborate.
what was like your best night? What was like your best day? What was like your best run as you assemble your crew, y'all get together, and I don't know, something like a light bulb goes off for you, and it's just like, we rich.
I wouldn't say not necessarily rich. I would say, because we was reckless then. Like, it was like, as fast as it was coming, as fast as it was going. Eventually, I got pregnant, had a baby. So now I was to the point where I got to make some wise decisions because I'm a mom now. So being reckless was something I had to take into consideration.
You told me that you hit a spot and I guess a couple spots and y'all came off with $75,000. What is it split like? Is this like a 50-50 split between you and your partners, or is it sort of like 80-20? Like, how do you?
No, 80-20, straight down the middle. We play fair.
I also say that because when you think of these operations, you think there's a man at the helm, typically. When you think of these big time schemes, scams, white collar crimes, you don't think a woman is behind, all of this stuff. Sort of like, how is your respect in the game? How are people looking at you being a woman and there's nobody over you?
Well respected. There wasn't no man behind me. I was doing all the tricking if I did have a man. He wasn't. I didn't have a man at the time. So, I had eventually, like I said, I had a baby. But me and my son's father, he wasn't the breadwinner. I was the breadwinner in the relationship. So I came home with the money.
Hello? She was the breadwinner between her and her child's father, her man at the time. She was the HBIC, head black woman in charge. She was taking care of him and their child. Peep.
What kind of things were you buying for him?
I bought him a car wash.
A business?
Bought him a business. Clothes, shoes, jewelry, whatever he wanted.
What was sort of your scariest moment trapping?
My scariest moment trapping? I can't really say I ever had one. I had a scare.
Really?
Because I never got turned down. Whenever I went inside of a candy store or a jewelry store, I never got turned down. They called me a gemologist because I was so good at knowing diamonds, eyeballing diamonds.
Said you would grab the magnifying glass.
I would grab the magnifying glass. Let me see if it's a VVS, I in color, G in color, H in color. Wow. Eternally flawless. I don't want nothing less.
What are you doing with this stuff? Are you just like being the fly girl on the block? Like, obviously when you go into a candy store, you're taking that money, but when you're buying these clothes and these bags and these shoes, what are you doing with it? Just being...
I had a pretty good clientele when it came to the jewelry. So I would sell the jewelry.
Okay, you said it would work often. About how, if you would, out of 10 times, how many times would you say?
10.
10?
I would never get turned down when I went in. Now, as far as my workers, things was different when it came to them. Because you have to go in there with confidence, like, this is yours. I'm coming in here, I would like to get cash advance. It's my money. Only thing you can do is say yes or no. The object of the game is to get to the phone. You can't get to the phone, then it's a no.
Did you ever feel like this was something you could do forever? I mean, with this much success, with this much money, with a crew that's, ironclad, did you feel like,
Of course you think that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And there's another term that I want to put out there for people is social engineering. This is called social engineering when you have a organization with a set agenda, and then you have people who are helping you, her crew, her squad, going out to different establishments like banks, jewelry stores, high-end retailers. They are socially engineering. They're walking in the store, they have a script, and they run that script. And it's up to that clerk or that service professional, front-facing customer service professional, to be trained to spot social engineering cues. Okay. So that's where the first line of defense is to combat social engineering And protect customer PII is that person on the other end of the phone or at the counter. They are trained to understand the protocol and how to circumvent PII from being compromised or security breach. Okay, let's go.
You big headed. You think that this can go on forever. You can go and spend the money and then turn around and make the money.
I'm gonna give away.
It's getting deep, y'all. Okay. It's getting deep. It's a lot of advertisements, but it's worth every click because this is educational. We as Black men and women need to dig deeper into the understanding of how to protect yourself online, offline, because now it's the digital age. It's the chip. Okay. It's the chip. Everything, every card you get now has a chip in it. All right. And that's all your PII on that chip, on that card.
What about school? Are you pulling up to school like in high school? I mean, are
In
you
foreigns, I had an acro legend at the time.
pulling up 17, 18 years old to high school? Were you able to finish school?
Yes, I was able to finish school.
College?
No, I ended up going to community college and getting an AA degree.
You got a full scholarship.
Full ride, Cal State East Bay.
Didn't take it.
Didn't take it.
The life was just too enticing.
I wouldn't say, I would say too enticing and chasing after the bag, trying to make sure my child didn't go through the things that I went through as a kid.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. What was the average week for you in the game? Just money-wise, like what was the average week?
Average week? About 65,000.
Man, I can't even imagine that kind of money now in 2024. So, just are you investing your money? Are you buying businesses for yourself? Are you going into the, I guess, stock market? Like, what do you like?
Eventually I did, later on down the line.
Later down the line. What kind of businesses did you have?
A laundromat.
And this was solely to what? Wash the money, or were you actually washing people's clothes?
It was actually a service.
Okay.
Yes.
Sometimes they
Where
just
did
have
you get the washing the money from?
because you would need you're making $65,000 a week. You need some kind of, I don't know, something to say like where this money's coming from, how I'm getting, I don't know, maybe you got a really booming laundromat business, right? Like something to sort of cover that up. What kind of, are you taking trips? Are you going around when you go?
Traveling everywhere all across the world. We could just pick a state on the map. We will literally get the map, pick the state, and go.
Also in my mind, it's like you are not able to run this scheme in the same place over and over, right?
No. You have to get on a flight and travel.
You had to get on the road.
You had to get on the road. You mean your references as saying that you can't do it in your own state, or?
My reference is you can't go into the same store twice. You can't go into the same bank twice. You have to find somewhere else to go because they're going to be like, somebody keeps coming in here asking to speak on the phone and,
Absolutely. Eventually, after about 6 people later, yeah.
You running a store down with 6 people?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, periodically speaking.
Okay.
You saying that nobody can't go in there twice? Yeah, after about 6 people and already went into that candy store. Of course.
What kind of men are you dating?
Drug dealers.
It's just, because you're a boss.
You heard what she said. What kind of men? I'm just saying the energy is very similar. The energy with her description of her and her partner at the time, who she shares a child with, is very similar to Stormi, Steele, and Courtney, because there's rumors floating around that prior to them breaking into the entrepreneurial industry, they didn't have, the most squeaky clean background. Okay? I'm just pointing out similarities here. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying that there are very high similarities between these 2 women, Stormi Steele and Bella Barcode. I'm just saying, let's go.
In my mind, as you're telling me the story, as I think about it, you're a boss. Is it hard for you to find someone to deal with, or do you always have to find sort of like that drug dealer to be with?
No, it was more, I think it has a lot to do with, like I said, my upbringing. Because my mom used to always say that, never depend on a man. Always have your own. You always got to be strong. Always have your separate bank account, separate everything. And I think that, from her saying that, it's instilled in my mind that I can never depend on a man. So that's how I was raised. I never depended on a man for anything.
Do you remember how your lifestyle changed from like being like 16 when you didn't have money to being now 18, having cars, money, businesses, and all this?
It came with a lot of jealousy and a lot of hate.
Talk to me about that.
Well, I've always been a type of person or friend, like, we all go shine, not just one of us. So I had a couple of girlfriends that, well, in particular, my little play sister, and I met her through my son's father, my kid's father, and she was really young. She was a stripper, and it started off like, as you know, peaches and cream. You know, I asked her if she wanted to come to New York to get her first watch, and she said yeah, and it was up from there. She's my lookout. So basically, if she come in the store with me, she just sit there and be pretty and make sure she don't see no funny business.
This is her right hand. This is the homie. Okay. This is the sis, the one that's the closest to her. Check it out. Jealousy.
Why did no one tell?
Jealousy will do it every time, folks. Listen, family. The people that you think truly hold you down and have your back will be the ones to quickly, the fastest one, turn on you and sing like a bird. Watch.
What kind of watch did you get?
She got a Jacob and Company.
Oh wow. Okay, those were kind of like the watches back then. Oh man, I can only imagine what goes through her mind and how she starts to view you in reverence to you, sort of just seeing, wow, she just took me here, and now I have the most expensive thing I've ever owned in my life. You probably had her eating out of your hand at some point, or just listening to anything that you would say.
She was younger than me too.
Okay. Did you have any role models growing up?
No. Did I look up to anybody? No.
Why?
I guess the
Y'all heard
environment,
that.
how I was raised. My mom
Your
was an addict.
environment shapes who you are, y'all.
So, and a lot of stuff about my childhood it's very vivid.
Like what?
Whew. I just try to like erase the memory, you know. I really don't remember a lot about it, but I do remember my mother was a functional addict. I had my auntie said that I was slew-footed. She said she don't know how I ended up walking because my mom used to be too high where she could never get me out of bed. So I learned how to walk in bed, basically. I wasn't raised in a two-parent household. I wasn't raised with a silver spoon. I had to get it out the mud. Alcohol and drugs was all around me. That's all I seen growing up. My mom was a booster, so I remember this one event, we were in Sears, and it was the first time we got caught stealing with her, and my grandma had to come get us.
This is your mom, your protector, someone that you should be looking up to, and here you are getting caught stealing. What were your feelings towards your mother growing up?
Growing up, I seen her struggle a lot. You know, my mom, she didn't know how to drive or nothing. And I seen her work jobs after jobs to take care of us. My dad wasn't a pitcher, but he passed away when I was 11 years old. He had lung cancer.
What kind of man was he?
From my recollection, he was a good man. I was a daddy's girl. Yeah.
What kind of woman was your grandmother?
My grandmother was a king. She was a queen pin. She was a drug dealer. She sold everything. She'd sell you if she could.
Generational curses. You see how it's passed down. Grandma, then down to the mom, and then the daughter. Okay? Very similar. Rough upbringing, chaotic, toxic, dysfunctional family. And now we have Stormi Steele, who is this, overnight wonder. And we got a lot of people following up the rear who are saying that they didn't get their product, they didn't get, a refund. Now we have memorialized, confirmed accounts of people socially engineering PII. Okay? Let's go for a little bit longer, then we're gonna be out.
She sold ices, candy, POs, crack. She used to tell my cousins that if you got a PUSSY, you don't come back in this house broke. So like I said, if she can sell you, she'll sell you. Like literally. Yeah. She used to make us pay for rent to stay with her. And when I look back at it, it taught us responsibility, We couldn't stay in our house for free. Yeah, my grandma was a hustler.
I guess knowing that the kind of neglect that went on in the home, that a child teaches themselves how to walk, the neglect that is happening, what's birthed out of that, right? What's birthed out of severe neglect? You grew up in the projects.
Acorns. They used to call it the children of Acorns.
Where's that located?
It's in West Oakland.
Oakland.
The Bay Area.
I'm telling you, y'all, it's a lot of similarities here, okay? In the energy, the toxicity, the dysfunction, the whole nine, scrambling, trying to find your footing, trying to make it, get it out the mud. Necessity breeds invention, but that does not make it justifiable to be a social engineer and hand over people's PII under the guise of doing business. I don't give a good damn if your business is legitimate. Okay. Nobody has the right to expose a customer, client, whatever, to expose their PII, period. So we're gonna do a little bit more and then we're gonna bounce.
Become this teenager that's now a super product of her environment, right? Because your grandmother just wasn't a drug dealer, she was the drug dealer.
She was the drug dealer.
You became the pinnacle of, what do you call this? What do you call it again? Because it's not like credit card scamming in my mind.
It's called the approval game.
The approval game.
Everything getting approved. It's not funny.
You created your own style of.
It's not funny. It's not funny, guys. I don't want no kids to go through what I went through. It's not funny. It's not funny. I'm laughing. It's like a defense mechanism. Like I'm laughing to keep from crying. I laugh a lot, smile a lot to keep from crying, to keep that pain, that hurt just swept under the rug. 7 years of my life. 7. Gone. Kids was 1 and 5 when I left. 1 and 5. My babies was crying. And I still left. Greed. Just greed. There's no other word to explain it. Just greed. It's not worth it. It wasn't worth it. It took a lot for me to get up here and tell my story. These young kids that's growing up thinking, I ain't going 50-50 with no nigga, tricking. That's not the lifestyle. That is not the lifestyle.
I read the article on you. They caught you with $70,000 worth of diamonds. 24 years old. $70,000 worth of diamonds. They said in the 2-day span that you spent in Boston, you racked up $120,000. There was this one line, he said, y'all had flashy clothes and incriminating receipts. Oh, they ate y'all up in that article. They ate y'all up. Yo, they drew a map of every place y'all hit and how much money y'all spent in every store. They said y'all look so good that nobody would question. They interviewed the people and the merchants. They said, how would we know? They had the best clothes. They knew everything about the stones that they were purchasing. How'd you get caught?
It's funny you asked that.
Check this out, y'all.
We were on our way to go sell the diamonds, and I did an illegal U-turn. Cops pulled us over.
It's the little things that get you caught.
It's the little things that get you caught. He walked to the car. Can I get your registration and your insurance and your driver's license? Gave it to him. He went to the car, came back to the car. I probable cause to search his vehicle. The young lady looked at me. I looked at her. We already knew it was over. We already knew it was a wrap.
Because everything is in the car.
Because everything is in the car, including the receipts. We well away from the state. We back at home at this point. We scot-free. We back home. About to go do what we do. When we come back home, take care of business. And like I said, I had a 3-way search clause. I was on probation for an incident that occurred from one of my workers going inside the candy store and them calling the 800 number, and it traced back to my apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Getting too comfortable, too loose.
Wow. Because I mean, by this time, you're what, 6 years in the game?
6 years in the game. I was 24, 20.
The mistake was a small U-turn, getting comfortable, cocky, greedy, and arrogant. And that one little U-turn cost her 7 years of her life away from her children.
Yeah, 24.
Oh. I mean, damn. Your bill was $20,000.
Okay.
Dollar to your name.
Didn't have a dollar in my name. A dollar.
How does a woman making $100,000 in a weekend not have a dollar to her
Not
name?
have a name. Only thing I had was assets. Jewelry and clothes and pocketbooks. My adrenaline rushing, like, what am I going to do? I immediately called my older sister. She said, I tell her what happened. At this time, we still in the county, waiting to get extradited back to the other state. We get there, like you said, bail $20,000, not a dollar to my name. My sister told me to call H. I calls him. He said, what you crying for? My bill $20,000. Okay, where you gonna take this money? He didn't take not just 20, he took 25,000 over to my friend.
And who's H? Do you know? Who is this guy?
The same guy we was on our way to meet to sell the loose stones to.
He just pays your bill.
Pays my bill. Met him through my sister, my older sister. Didn't have no connections with this guy at all. I was just going to do business with him.
He bonds you out just like that.
Bond me out just like that. Bond me out just like that. I'm like, is this guy Sinister? What is going on? I mean, I'm crying.
Right.
Like, we in a state where they do heinous crimes, where it's terrible.
Right. That's crazy. I wish I could call somebody right now for $25,000. Shit, I could use it.
You know, when your name ring in the streets, it's a different story.
Yeah. No, that's the truth, though.
It's a different story.
That's the truth. You were who you said you was. When you get sentenced, I know earlier you mentioned 7 years. What was you thinking when that judge banged the gavel and told you you got 7 years?
He didn't say 7 years. He said 84 months. And I didn't understand it. So I went back to the bullpen, and this guy, he like, Mom, how much time you got? I'm like, I got 84 months. He like, damn, what you do?
In your mind, when they say months, you don't think...
Yeah, right. I'm not thinking I'm like, 84 months.
Oh, shit.
I get back to that bullpen. He like, damn, what you do, kill somebody? I'm like...
I'm happy we can laugh about it now.
You laugh about it now.
But at the time, it wasn't funny.
But at the time, it wasn't funny.
7 years of your life.
7 years of my life gone.
Where's that bail money? Where's you know, are your peoples there for you? The person you got locked up, how much time did she get?
What?
How much time did the girl that got arrested with
Huh?
you? Oh.
I went down by myself. No co-defendants.
You heard that? I hope y'all caught that. She took that ride by herself. The chick that was with her, all her crew flipped and turned stool pigeon.
You mean CIA 1 and CIA 2?
Boom.
Hello.
They ratted on you?
They didn't have to. My friend's dad was a FBI agent at the time.
What? Why?
There you go, good people. That's that, okay? So, I'm just saying, It's not a laughing matter when someone gets a hold of your personal identifiable information. It's not just stalking or just a text or ignore that. Don't pay any attention to it. Oh, they would never do this or do that. I have his children. He would never do such and so. Or she's the mother of my child. She would never such and such and so and so. You cannot minimize stalking. You cannot minimize harassment, doxing. Is very, very serious. Okay. Social engineering is very real. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay. They have special units of cybercrime units to take care of and handle and tackle social engineering crimes such as like fraud, this stuff that we're talking about, tapping into, how to circumvent being authentic merchants and grabbing the bag that doesn't belong to you, robbing people blind behind the scenes. Okay? Quiet as is kept. A designer criminal is what I call it. Wearing the latest labels, the diamonds, the baubles, the wham whams, and the zuzus. Okay. Right underneath the back door with her hat on. Okay. For 6 years, she got away with it. And then the people that were the most familiar with her, she got. Okay. So I'm all about moving forward, right? And I get that Queen Sheba she has to move how she is gonna move, however God directs her to move on this. So I am really out of it. I don't have a dog in the fight. However, I do have very critical, very important information and education on guarding yourself and how to protect yourself from this happening to you. And that's why we warn against doing business with Sinister Stormy Steele, because she is sloppy. Okay. And we don't know who all has access to her PII that she is supposed to keep encrypted and under a classified, secure uh, collection space, whether it's in the Shopify app, whether it's in on an encrypted server, on a spreadsheet, bookkeeping information, bookkeeping software, anything like that is supposed to be encrypted and kept confidential, highly confidential. That means nobody has access to it but the the person who owns it, pays the monthly subscription for it or the monthly fees, dues, or whatever for it, and only one login is permitted, one license is permitted to use whoever purchased it. Okay, so that's why everything have these weird numbers, codes, and symbols and stuff, because it's a specific identifier to who has access to these encrypted servers that store people's PII and financial and governmental information. Okay. So this is the mind that I take about it. Kevin Gates said it best. Forgiveness is not for the other party involved, it's for yourself so you can move forward and move how you need to move. But I'll never forget. So check out this little sound bite for me right quick here, and then we're going to be out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for rocking with me. If you feel this video, drop them eagle feathers in the comment section. Hit like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and say a prayer for me so that I can get remonetized and we can really take off and do some amazing things with this channel again. Um, I'm getting back in the swing of things, vlogging, trying to get back on a regular pattern, juggling the plantation with the content creation, and I'm trying to get my little business off the ground too again. So I'm starting all over from scratch, coming out of a trauma filled, very demonic cycle phase in my life, healing myself from the trauma, the disappointment, the brokenness of growing up in a toxic family who with a narcissistic mother who triangulated and caused a lot of mental and emotional damage to myself and my family. So we're really on the mend here. We're trying to take it slow and easy as it goes. And I'm just blessed and grateful to still have my sound mind. That's why I resonate so much with Melody because, you know, people and their evil that they do will drive you crazy, especially when you're silent. You know, silence is so much more powerful than people give credit. Okay. When you ignore someone and you say, hey, that's it, and just go radio silent, the response to your silence is a truly defining moment for you who the hell you really dealing with. Okay. Peep this out and we're going to take it on out. One love, family. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Always keep it a buck and protect your peace at all costs.
Ask God for forgiveness. Hey, forgive me for the things that I did unknowingly. Forgive me the things I did knowingly. Just forgive me. And then I forgive myself so I don't keep looping in it. Ask God for forgiveness. Hey, forgive me for the things that I did unknowingly. Forgive me the things I did knowingly. Just forgive me. And then I forgive myself so I don't keep looping in it.
All right, fam. We're going to take it on out of here. I hope you have a beautiful, lovely day today. And I'll see you on the flip side.